How's it going, friends? Tristan here, and today I'm joined with my former professor, Mark Wolters.
Hey there, fellow travelers. Mark Wolters from Wolters World, and today we're here to talk about accommodation, right?
Yes, we're going to be talking about the different types of accommodations that you can stay at when you're traveling around the world, from hotels, hostels, Airbnbs, so many different other options, resorts. So Mark here has so much travel experience with years of travel. How many years have you been traveling?
Longer than you've been alive, my friend.
Yes. So he has an amazing channel. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so what we try to focus on is giving people honest travel advice. So we'll say, you know, the things you don't do when you go to a place, the things you have to do when you're there, the things you have to eat when you're there, but also things you're gonna love and hate about going places. Because a lot of times, a lot of blogs only tell you the good stuff. That's one thing I love about his stuff. He tells the truth like we do. So if you want honest travel advice, come check us out on our channel. But we're not here to talk about me. We're here to talk about accommodation, right?
All right, so let's get into it. So first we're gonna talk about vacation rentals, condos. There's places where you go when traveling, maybe to like a ski lodge or something.
Now, when you're gonna see in these, what you have to look for is, any of these we're looking for, always read the reviews, right?
Absolutely,
it's the key thing. But vacation rentals, one thing that's nice about them is they're usually geared specifically for travelers and tourists. So it's not like you're staying at somebody's house that maybe didn't, you know, clean up. You have one that's geared towards a traveler in a vacation area. So you'll probably have lots of information there. They'll have, you know, a booklet probably to tell you about the place to go see in the town, stuff like that.
Absolutely, yeah. I also like because their locations are usually really great, because they know if you're going to be like skiing or you're going to be on the beach, they're usually located really close to the beach.
And of course, with that means the prices are a little bit higher than if you're going to just get an apartment in town. So do have a heads up for that. But if you got a family or if you got like a bunch of buddies to go together, if you're going for the beach, you want to be at the beach. So vacation rentals, usually good bet.
Next, we're going to be talking a little bit about hotels. When would you say you prefer to stay in a hotel?
So if I'm going to go anywhere 3 nights or less, I usually tend to go for a hotel, because I don't want to have an apartment and deal with all those things and trying to figure out when we can meet up to get keys or something like that. Whereas a hotel, at 2 or 3 nights, a weekend away, they take care of everything for me. I don't have to worry about the sheets, throwing away the garbage and stuff like that. I can just go enjoy the city, go back to my room, fresh made bed.
Absolutely, yeah. Hotels are one of the few places that have all those amenities included, and they clean your rooms. Most places, you know, you have to kind of keep it clean while you're there. So hotels definitely have a little bit of a luxury feel to them.
And of course, again, you'll pay a little bit more for hotels versus hostels or motels and stuff like that. But sometimes it's worth it, especially if you've been doing, like, I know you've done a lot of stuff in Southeast Asia, I've done a lot of stuff in South America, and a lot of backpacking and things like that. And after, you know, 3 weeks of hostel living, sometimes you like having that clean hotel feel.
Absolutely, and a hotel's all to yourself, which is great. However, our next thing is hostels, and hostels, on the other hand, I think hostels are great for meeting new people. They're the best if you want to get to know a city, but you also want to meet new people, see kind of more. I feel like hostels kind of give you a little bit more sense of the culture, in my opinion.
Well, because you'll have a lot of other travelers that are there. They're trying to explore that same city or that same country, and so they're like, "Hey, did you try this food? Did you see this hotel or this museum or something?" And so you get kind of this really cool tourist vibe when you're at a hostel, because everyone's geared there for the same kind of thing, which is a really cool spirit. That's what's so cool about hostels.
Also, not to mention with hostels, they're obviously the cheapest option probably. Actually, there is one cheaper option, but no, the hostels are really cheap. One other thing I love about hostels is there's so many activities that are usually kind of included in the hostel. Like the hostel might go on a bar crawl, a pub crawl. Yeah. They can take you on tours. The people who work there are really great. They know the city well, so you can ask them for information. Other places, not quite so much. You know, you don't have the community feel. So if you have something that you want to do, then you can do it there. But if you're looking for things to do, I think you can find that better at a hostel.
And hostels are really good. If you're a solo traveler, it's probably the best place to go, because you can meet people to go see the city with them for the day and stuff like that. So that's one thing I really like about hostels. So next up,
the cheapest option possible to stay. So this one I actually haven't done. I'm not sure if you have, but
couch surfing.
Yeah,
couch surfing. I've been a part of that.
You have? Okay.
Yeah. So couch surfing. I'm not sure what it is. It's a whole, like, you go to couchsurfing.com and all these things. Basically, someone just lets you stay at their house for free. Maybe you might get them some groceries, or you might just hang out with them. But it's people that want to meet travelers and maybe let them know about the city they're in. It's cool because it's free. But I will say, if you are a female, you've got to be careful. You got to read those reviews, especially. That's where I saw a lot of my female friends have issues. They had like creepy guys, only women allowed, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you do really have to. I mean, that's one of the things. Like, it's free, so you can't really complain when it's free. But you got to be careful with those things. Now, in general, I got tons of people that had great times. I had friends that hosted and went on couch surfing. I've done it. I've slept on the couch before too. But it is one of those things. It's free. but you do need to pay attention.
If you wanted to not pay attention, you want to be more safe, what would you recommend, like some safe?
So if you want like safety, if you want to stay at someone's house and be a little bit like more on the grid kind of stuff, you do have like the Airbnbs. You know, you could rent a room in somebody's house, and what's cool about that is usually it's in the center of town or something like that. You got a local you can ask questions to, and usually if they're doing this, they're making a little money and they want to help you to get a good rating, so there'll be some help there for you.
Something else I like about Airbnbs is that you can kind of pick an Airbnb that fits your needs. So if you are a solo traveler, you can just rent one room from a house with like a family in it, or if you're with a group, you can rent an entire house. So there's a lot of variety with Airbnbs.
So with those Airbnbs, if you're looking for something a little bit more geared towards like a traveling group, you can look at VRBO or HomeAway. They both do a lot of those things, and you can rent a house out or an apartment out. That's actually used more than Airbnb. Like HomeAway and VRBO, which is the same company now, that's like our first go-to, but it's like more than 3 days, and then we'll go to Airbnb because we just find the VRBO, those kind of ones, a little bit higher quality places. Airbnb's fine, don't get me wrong, but you have less of the weird comments and stuff like that, okay?
Gotcha.
So where else can we stay?
So one other place is a resort, and I think the best thing about resorts is, so when we talk about all these places you're traveling, it's really if you're traveling either alone or with a group, that's a small group like your family that has a common goal. However, if you're traveling with like extended family and your kids just like have different ages, you have cousins, I think resorts are a great place to stay, because like for my family, when we went to a resort in Mexico, it was like I was like 18, so I could go and kind of hang out with like the club there and have fun there. My brother was a little bit younger, so there were still plenty of kid activities for him to do at night, and they have those resorts. Then my parents could go and get like their massages and their this and that.
And I mean, I was just in Jamaica in one with my family. We were one in Belize as well. And what's cool about it is, like you said, there's something for everybody, and sometimes they'll have babysitting services. But the thing is, Tristan made a fantastic point. There's something for everybody. So if you're one of these like, oh, we're gonna do the multi-generational trip, grandma, grandpa, me and my brother and his wife and all their and then all the kids together, we don't all like the same thing. And this way, everyone can find something of their own, which makes a big difference. So it takes a lot of the pressure off you as a person on the trip, not having to schedule stuff, because it's all there for you.
Yes, exactly. And one other note on that is you're not necessarily always with them. It's great to be like, and you're in the same hotel, you know, you can come together for dinner.
We're close.
Yeah, but
we're not that close.
Exactly. You can get away from your family for like, you know, bits at a time during the day at resorts.
So next thing we can look at is some of the smaller kind of places you can go to.
Yeah, so one idea is you can stay at maybe like a motel, kind of like a hotel but cheaper.
Yeah, and the thing is, the motel, you'll see the doors are on the outside, not on the inside. That's the big definition in the US. Usually those will be a lot cheaper when you go there. We usually stay there because they're just significantly cheaper than a hotel. You won't get as many amenities, so probably not a free breakfast. Well, you might get a free breakfast, but it'll be like, you know, a continental breakfast, like here's a Danish and some coffee and on your way.
Sometimes I've stayed at motels before as if I'm like taking a road trip and I'm traveling and we don't want to like sleep in the car that night. You just hop, you know, get there like midnight, sleep till like 6, and then you're out the next day. So you don't spend much money, but you have a place to
and
sleep.
the motels tend not to have as many of the amenities either, so you're not going to be working out. I mean, you gotta keep the guns, right? You know, I mean, I gotta work on this. There's no bar either, so
that's true.
There's those things. Now another one, the one I've done a lot when I've been in England and Wales and Scotland, all over the UK and stuff, are bed and breakfasts. These are the family-run places that have 2 or maybe 3 rooms in them, and you go and you stay there, and it's like living in someone's house. And they have like the fancy breakfasts in the morning and stuff like that. It's definitely a higher-end kind of place to stay. It's a much more expensive place to stay, but in some places, like if you're going to go to New England, like if you're going to go to Maine or Vermont or something like that, or if you're going to go to actual England and stay there, the bed and breakfast scene is where you want to go. I would say if you want to have any parties or anything like that, that's not the place for you. But the thing is, it gives you a lot of more historic atmosphere. So sometimes the B&Bs might be in a castle, or like in France they have these geets, which is like an old farmhouse they turned into this bed and breakfast. So you do have cool stuff like that.
So one other thing, if you also want to be really cheap, is camping. So I went on a trip this 2 summers ago, and me and my friends went camping for 3 weeks, different places. It was super cheap.
How's your back?
It was fine. I didn't even sleep in a tent. We slept in hammocks most of the time.
That's cool.
But anyway, so camping's the next option if you want to go. I mean, you have to know the laws of some states in the US, I know, or pretty much like camp anywhere.
But in some places, unless you're at an official campground and you have paid the fee to camp there, you can get in really big trouble. So look up KOA for Campgrounds of America. They have all kinds of stuff to help you find the best like locations, because some people they'll drive and just go from campsite to campsite to campsite, which is really kind of a cool thing. Also, it's significantly cheaper than, it's not cheaper than free like in couch surfing, but it does have, it is a really good price thing, and it makes a really good experience too when you're going, especially when you got kids.
Yeah, and it's great for like if you want to see like kind of like national parks and stuff like that.
Yeah. Big one out there.
Depending on what you want to see.
Yeah, I think we covered
it.
Yeah. I'm sure there's more out there. Please, if there's other kind of options, put it in the comment section below.
And in that comment section below, I'm going to be linking Mark Wolters' channel in there. It's, yeah, Wolters World. It is an absolutely great channel. There's literally like a video on everything.
Thanks, buddy.
Yep.
Have a good time.
Absolutely.
All you happy travels to all you. We'll talk to you later.
See you later.
Bye.